Bread buns is the only appetite-quenching snack that is suffering high demand, low supply in our community today. Yeah, the number of food handlers that really understand the concept of production and commercialization of bread buns are only but a few. But today, I will expose the authentic Nigerian bread buns recipe and production procedure to the large number of bakers that will choose to watch this video. I will also uncover how you can go into bulk bread buns production with or without you necessarily having production equipment. So, hit the like button and stick around for lots of values are to be drawn from this video. Finally, ensure never to skip this video for anything in this world. Let's select and introduce our ingredients according to their respective functions. And the first ingredient on my list is flour. Yes, bread buns is organoleptically characterized as a chewy food snack. Therefore, you need a bread flour. And for this very recipe, we will go for 500 grams or 4 cups of bread flour. Second ingredient is our rising agent, which is our baking powder. And for our third ingredient is our sweetener. We'll be using sugar and salt. Yes, we group them together because of their taste enhancement property. The fourth ingredient is milk flavoring powder. You can combine 2 or more flavors. And the fifth ingredient is our shortening. Yes, and this is about 30 grams of margarine. And we will apply this margarine in 2 different ways, so keep watching. And don't forget our water for mixing and oil for frying. And if you are using this recipe for business like I do, then you will be needing a preservative so that it can stay for up to 1 week without spoilage in case you didn't finish selling within the first 3 to 4 days. Now for the procedure, let's begin with melting our sugar. And to do that, add 60 grams or quarter cup of sugar in your pot. Then add little water enough to dissolve the sugar completely. Next, heat up the sugar solution for about 2 minutes to melt completely. Now let's melt part of our margarine for a better flavor. We're using 30 grams of margarine in total, and this is about 20 grams of it. So gonna allow this to melt completely and to mix properly with our sugar solution. Once that is done, turn off your heat and let the proper mixing begin. Now, add a teaspoon of salt to your flour, half a tablespoon of our rising agent, which is our baking powder. Then the remaining part of our margarine goes in next. And let me also portray the fact that you can use a lesser margarine quantity for this. For bread buns, it's not a high margarine requiring product, especially now that we are frying it. Though the quantity I used is perfect, it made it to reach, but if you want to cut down your cost the more, I permit you to use about 20 grams instead of 30 in total. Is that clear? Next, add in a tablespoon of milk flavoring powder. And when it comes to flavors, I don't expect you to use same with me. So always customize your flavors to make your product different from another. You can use combination of different flavors or you can use just but one flavor. And finally, a teaspoon of calcium propionate. It is commonly called powdered preserve, bread preserve, or whatever you call it in your area. It has a microbial inhibiting factor, and that is what makes it a preservative. So, go ahead and mix them to combine. Firstly with your spoon, and later on, move in with your finger. Squeeze the margarine and every other ingredient added to incorporate properly. And at the end of your mixing, your flour becomes crumb-like in texture. And once that happens, then it is time to incorporate your mixture of sugar syrup and melted margarine. And because my mixing bowl is small, I am adding it bit by bit. If you are a bigger bowl mixer, then consider adding everything at once. This warm liquid mixture helps to partially heat up our flour, then give it a stiff-like texture when mixed to become a dough. The stiff-like property is needed for easy kneading and folding. And once you're done with the mixing, you can go ahead and add a full cup of water. Now, I want you to have this as a formula at the back of your mind whenever you are making bread buns. That 4 cups of flour goes with 1 cup of water. So go ahead and mix this into a dough and add nothing else. On our kneading table side, we'll be needing flour for sprinkling, a rolling pin, and a cotton slab. You can also use a knife in place of the slab. And our table is already sprinkled with some flour, so bring in your dough and begin to work on it. Knead this dough thoroughly for about 7 to 10 minutes until it becomes very smooth. And if your dough is too strong that your hand could handle, please make it workable by adding in some water into your dough and softening it up. Yes, up to the level in which your hand could handle. A good bread buns is not characterized by how strong it is, but how right you got in the texture. So after kneading, I'm gonna divide the dough into 2 equal parts. Now listen, I'm gonna practically teach you how to fold this dough the right way. Firstly, knead and flatten the dough to become so smooth on both sides. After that, expand the dough so that its thickness is very thin. Yeah, this step, as you can see, requires a little bit strength and effort, and that is why I recommended that you should make your dough workable if it is too hard. But mine is very okay, so I did not need to soften it at all. Now you can see the level of the thickness. You can literally see the shadow of my hand, okay? So at this level, I'm gonna fold it for the first time. And once I do, I'm gonna sprinkle some flour and begin my second missionary journey. And after expansion, I'm gonna fold again for the second time, just like this. And please don't forget the sprinkling of the flour, because that is what gives it the rightful bread buns texture. Yes, like that mbadume kind of texture. Ordinarily, bread buns is not supposed to be produced with hand like this. It is usually milled and flattened with machine. So it is the machine that toughens the gluten of the flour to give it that hard texture that makes you to eat one in the morning and you will no longer be hungry till evening. So now that it is possible for us to make it with hand through this teaching, you must follow the right principle. So the more you sprinkle flour, the more the dough absorbs the flour and becomes hard. Even with milling machine, they also sprinkle flour while milling in order to achieve such texture. So flour sprinkling is a necessity in bread buns production. Another tips I'll give you is that, do you know you can produce these bread buns from the beginning to the end even without going through the stress of kneading? Yes, it is very simple. Just check out for commercial bakeries around you, and most of them do offer services like this, but you need to know what you want, okay? All you just have to do is to go with your flour and the rest of your ingredients. They will mix for you, knead for you, flatten the dough for you, cut, fry, and even package for you. The more services they offer, the more money you pay. But you have to be very wise and discreet with your recipe. Many people buy the services of commercial bakeries like this and do their production, supply, and make their profit without doing their production themselves. You can find some of these commercial bakeries in our local markets. Sometimes they are even closer to you than you think. And if you have some change, it is better you have your own equipment so you can keep your profit yourself. So the 2 basic equipment you'll be needing is your spiral mixer, which will mix and mill the dough for you. And secondly, dough roller machine, which will flatten the dough for you just the way I have done in this video. And if you need help with getting the right machine down to your location, yes, any baking machine at all, peanut cutting machine, miller, mixer, molder, roller, or even an oven, anything you want, just send me a message. The link is on my YouTube bio and I'll be glad to help. So at this point, the thickness of our dough is already above 6 centimeters. So trim out the edges and cut out according to the size or shape or how you may want to sell it. In this video, I'm using a blunt slab to cut. You can also use a sharp knife if you want to get a sharper edge. You can cut in a different shape, like slanty manner, just to make your product different from what other people are doing. Yes, people like going for something new and different, okay? So just be creative. Man, just look at our bread buns though. Isn't this beautiful? I love it. And if you love it too, please hit the like button, okay? So heat up your oil to slightly above 40 degrees C and start frying. Now, when it comes to frying of bread buns, here are some of the important things you need to note. Number one, you must fry with a low heat. Yes, low heat is essential to enable your bread buns cook till doneness on the inside. So if your heat is high, it will be done and brown on the outside, whereas your inside is still uncooked. Tip number two, you must use oil that is sufficient enough to deep fry your bread buns. Please, you don't manage oil while frying bread buns. But that does not mean that it will soak up your oil. No. And to help you on the oil tip, it's advisable you use a smaller pot, just as I am using right now, so that the volume of your oil will come up to the pot at least to an extent. Yes, a well-mixed bread buns is not oil absorbing, rather it is oil conserving. Look at that. Oh my goodness, what a bread buns. Oh God. If I were you, Salpe's Kitchen will always be my plug. You can never go wrong with our recipes and procedure. Anyway, let's go to tips number 3. Tips number 3 on my list is that your bread buns must float in your oil while frying. Yes, if for any reason that your bread buns did not stay at the top of your oil while frying, then something is wrong in your production line and you need to figure it out. Some of the reason why your bread buns may not float while frying is when you forget to add a leavening agent like baking powder before mixing, it will not float. Also, poor kneading can also lead to that. I remember the first time I did bread buns, like a joke, my bread buns did not float. Yes, and the inside was not done, even when I fried it with a low heat. So use sufficient baking powder and knead well if you must have my own kind of result. Is that clear? Oh, look at these bread buns now. Oh my goodness. Do you know that even in the market, when I supply my product, it's always different from that of my competitors? Some of them even try to use my products to sell theirs. Anyway, that's another topic for another day. Finally, your bread buns should have a cracky kind of look, okay? From the places you cut it from. Yes, when you see these cracks, don't worry, it is normal. It is what authenticates your bread buns as the original, as the correct recipe. Just look at our bread buns. It's looking good and amazing. I want to say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. In my next video, we will look at white madiga bread recipe. Yes, still on bread buns. Yes, as requested from one of you. You can send me your video requests and I'll be very glad to upload it for you. If you have any question, please feel free to reach out to us in the comment section. Please like this video and subscribe to Salve's Kitchen. Now, from the 1 bottle of oil used, this is just the only place we use to fry. You can see our oil is still very much intact. You can reuse again and again. Bye for now.